Hi guys, today I want to show with you how I make mandala pattern. This is very nice little pattern. You can make few of them to give to your friends. It is puff stitch, lots of puff stitches, and as you can see, this is slightly smaller and the pink one slightly larger, and I will show you how I've done it exactly. Because everyone's got a little bit different tension, it's very simple pattern. I'm using just DK yarn, very basic ordinary yarn, but you can use any yarn you've got handy, and suitable crochet hook. I've got 4mm, and this is very nice cute design that we will be doing with children today at school. And so you start with slip knot, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and I'm making 4 chain stitches. Insert your hook into the first stitch, pull the yarn through and pull it through at once, and this will be our initial ring. Then chain 2, yarn over, and I'm making puff stitch into the circle, pick the yarn, pull it out, yarn over, into the circle, pick the yarn, pull it out, and the third time yarn over, into the circle and pull up a loop like this. Yarn over and pull through all your loops on your hook, and chain 2. And this is basic puff stitch. We will be using lots in this pattern. Yarn over, into the loop, pick the yarn and pull it out, make nice long loops. As you can see, I'm using my finger to hold those loops. If you want this pattern to go nicely and quickly, you need to make long loops. Then I'm holding it with my thumb and put the yarn through all my loops, just like that. You know, you can pause the video anytime if you want to repeat this puff stitch. I'm using all my fingers to help me. If you put your finger and hold all your long loops, it will be nice and even long loops. Put slight tension on those loops that they remain nice and long. I have started with chain 4, made it in the ring. If you want to start with magic loop, it will be basically very small loop in the beginning, because you can pull it and make into nothing, and in this way you will need to make only 5 puff stitches. If you can see, you see the circle is not closing up, so you may need to make 1 more puff stitch. If your circle is already closing up, you will avoid this last stitch and make 5 puff stitches instead of 6. And this is the difference in a pattern. When you see you can make a nice flat circle, insert your hook into the third chain stitch and pull it through. This is slip stitch, and we finished the round. Chain 1 and cut the yarn. I'm making chain 1 that the last stitch is not being undone. You see, when you pull it, it holds it tight. And then I will insert different color. You see, on this one, because I've started with magic loop, 5 puff stitches was enough, but if you start with chain 4, you needed to add 1 more puff stitch. And this is the difference. After that, it is a nice and easy pattern. I fished out the tail from the middle of the ball. This is what I like to do. I like to start my ball from the middle, and this will prevent the ball, your yarn, to jumping around, and it's much easier to do it. Insert your hook in any chain 2 spaces and pick the yarn. Yarn over and pull through. You've attached new yarn. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, chain 2 and puff stitch into the chain 2 chain spaces. Chain 2, second puff stitch in the same chain space. You know that you can make puff stitches with as many yarn over as you like. I'm making it 3 times only. And chain 2. Then again, all the same will be in the second chain space place right there. And if you can see, I'm holding all my ends and crochet over it. If you don't want to do it, if it's too much trouble, you will weave the ends afterwards. But if I crochet over it straight away, I don't need to weave my ends at the end. This is just optional. Then you go around making 2 puff stitches inside every chain space. So it is puff stitch, chain 2, puff stitch, chain 2, and all the way around. If you hold those long loops with your finger, it will help. And I'm doing it all the same. Puff stitch, chain 2, puff stitch, chain 2. If you want a very small dream catcher, maybe to give someone to put in the car, on the car mirror. I know some people have little toys just to keep in a car. 2 rounds will be enough. If you want to make slightly larger size, I will show you how to make 3rd round. And this is the last chain 2 space, 2 puff stitches, I'm going slightly faster because you know what I'm doing. If you crochet with me, you can pause the video and finish this round. Always put your finger, any finger you are comfortable with, on those long loops, and it will remain long and the same. To finish the round, slip stitch, you just pick the yarn, pull through, and pull this through straight away. And this should give you nice and flat circle. So as I said, if you want to keep this dream catcher very small with 2 rounds, you avoid this 3rd round and you will go straight to the round 4. But I want to add 1 more round, and I will show you how I do it. Insert your hook into the next space, any space, pick the yarn and pull it out, exactly the way we did round 2. Attaching the yarn, and then chain 2, yarn over, and making puff stitch, chain 2, another puff stitch into the same space, chain 2, and repeat the pattern. Next chain space I will place the same puff stitch, chain 2, puff stitch, chain 2, and I will go around my mandala just like that. This is very good way to practice your puff stitch, and this is very good way to use scrap yarn, because this requires just a tiny amount of yarn. Any yarn will work with this. Of course, find nice beautiful colors, it will look even better. Pause the camera now. I will pause the camera and finish the round, and this is what it looks. You can alter on this round, you can alter, instead of making 2 stitches, chain stitches, you could have made 1, if you see that this goes a little bit too wavy. My mandala goes slightly wavy, but I will leave it how it is. Then I'm attaching the last yarn, last color, and I'm making 2 single crochet into chain 2 space. So 2 single crochet into 1 chain 2 space, 2 single crochet into the next chain 2 space. If you feel that it is too tight, make 3 single crochet into each chain 2 spaces, because really you are replacing chain 2 and puff stitch. It is another stitch, so if you feel more comfortable, make 3 single crochets. I'm making just 2 single crochet, but I'm making them slightly larger than I would do. If you can see that the edge is tight, make 3rd or larger, make your single crochet larger. So this is how it will go, and I will go to finish this round. And then you finish this last round, and I will show you how to make the loop. Slip stitch into the first single crochet, And now you make the loop. I'm making just long chain. You can count as many stitches as I've done. I haven't. So you make this as long as you want. You can decorate this mandala with maybe some other beads, feathers, and maybe different color yarn. Be creative and let your fantasy fly. I've decided just to make one tassel with one bead. This is what we're gonna do with girls today at school, and this is what I've got in my stash. Just that's all. So use whatever material you've got at home. And here I'm just connecting this loop, making chain 1 or maybe even 2 to added security. Cut the yarn, and I will show you how to weave the end. So you can weave the end right into the last round of single crochets. Put your hook between those stitches and pick the yarn, pull it through, just like that. If you want, you can use the needle. Darning needle could be great if you've got any. If you don't, just use your hook. You can go inside single crochet and put this tail through right in the middle of this round. They always say then you change the direction and go backwards. This will secure this tail even better. I don't really do it very often, but this is how it's experienced crocheters suggest doing it. And this is it. Now it's time to decorate it. And I will show you how I'm doing the tassel. If you know how to do the tassel, that's great. If you don't, just watch me till the end. I will put one bead on the top of the mandala and the second bead where my tassel will be. I'm using smaller size hook for that. This is just what I've got in my stash. This is what I've got at home, so I'm using the things I've got. Maybe larger opening of this bead could be better. It would make my job easier, but I don't, so I'm just getting along with it. And here you can see that I struggle a little bit. Be careful, don't break your bead. If it doesn't get through, so that's okay. I've managed. I like wooden beads. Wooden beads, they give you such authentic look, I would say. And now how to make the tassel. I've got this little book, and I will just go round and round. This is approximately the size of mandala. Hold the tail and go round. Around 13-15 times will do.
Get out
slightly
this
higher.
pillow's got my head, unwilling to set me free.
And it helps me, I need more.
We have a deal, this pillow and me. As long as it is soft, I will lay in comfort. This duvet insists that I stay. So warm and cozy is she. I don't fight against it, got nothing to prove. No, I'm hazy and lazy in comfort. It's not that I'm moving, no reason to cry, no suffer or heartbreak, no tears in my eye. This high thread count bedding is simply divine. No, I've got nothing to do but bask in the sun. The day turns to evening and I'm still in bed. I'm living in dreamland, a place in my head. Perhaps I will stay here until I am dead. A life for me in comfort. I'm in love, I truly am in love. Before I didn't really understand the meaning of this feeling isn't clear until you draw me near. I couldn't help but think that I'm in love. I hold your hand, it's got me feeling grand. These simple words can't emanate the warmth I have within. Some poets bring a tear, but simple words, my dear, are all that come to mind when you are near. Why should I complicate the situation? Throw in all the adjectives I know. Rather use the short and sweet to tell my man 3 words he'll understand, a sentence strictly made to show affection that is grand. You shouldn't hesitate unless it's your first date, to spread your wings and say that I'm in I'm in love, I truly am in love. Before, I didn't really understand the meaning of this feeling isn't clear until you draw me near. I couldn't help but think that I'm in love.